This video is a press conference held by CeasefirePA on January 29th, 2018 on the two massive shootings that happened in the state of Pennsylvania at Reading, PA and in Fayette County, PA. Ceasefire is an organization that tries to bring more legislation and get more legislation passed about guns and shootings. And CeasefirePA partners up with their community partners to hold this press conference at Jerron X. Grayson Community Center on January 29th. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so I can bring you more videos on subjects like this and many other topics.
So, good evening and thank you for coming out to this press conference. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. All right. For those of you who do not know me, I am Rob Conroy. I'm the Director of Organizing for CeasefirePA. We're here essentially because in the last 36 hours there have been two deadly mass shootings in Pennsylvania, one in Reading and one in Fayette County. While investigations are ongoing, we know at least 5 were killed at a car wash in Fayette County early yesterday morning, and at least 4 men were killed at a home in Reading last night. And what information has been gathered is already indicating that the Fayette County shooter, a man decked out in body armor and armed with a semi-automatic assault rifle, a second rifle, and a handgun, was motivated by domestic issues. Although appalling and unprecedented, this story is not surprising. The mix of economic disputes, and domestic disputes, and guns is often fatal, and the easy access to guns in Pennsylvania, particularly semi-automatic rifles that can be sold in private sales without background checks, only increases the danger inherent in these situations. To have two mass shootings so close together in one state is itself horrifying. But late Friday afternoon, we also learned that at least one, possibly 2 school shootings were averted in Western Pennsylvania by the quick action of students, parents, the schools, and law enforcement. The suspect is 14 years old. This is the suspect right here in Fayette County. When the police searched his home, they found an arsenal, including a semi-automatic rifle. And thus far, there have been 11 school shootings this year nationally. We haven't even finished January. Just before that, Monday and Tuesday last week, there were 3 school shootings in America. At Marshall County High School in Western Kentucky, 2 students were killed and 18 more were wounded. One of the victims, 15-year-old Brady Nicole Holt, called her mother as she died. She called me and all I could hear was voices, chaos in the background, her mother told the press. She couldn't say anything, and I tried to call her name over and over and over, and she never responded. No mother should ever have to live through this, yet they do, over and over and over again. In fact, right here in Pittsburgh and in Allegheny County, we've had a bloody month, and are on point once again to see more gun crime than last year. And how does the man in the Oval Office, how does congressional leadership or the majority of our state legislators respond? With thoughts and prayers, of course. Not with leadership or resolve or action to prevent this. Not with the strength to stand up and shout that we value the lives of our children more than the profits of gun manufacturers. Not with the courage to speak truth to the lies and propaganda of the NRA who tells us that guns make us safer. We need and we deserve better. Thoughts and prayers without commitment and action are meaningless. It's time to make clear that this is not normal and we've had enough. We need to know how the shooters are obtaining these weapons, and we need to take steps to prevent this access. We can and must do more in Pennsylvania to keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have them. We know how to do it, but our elected officials in Harrisburg either lack the will to take action or can't see the facts that are in front of their faces. No other developed country has the same fascination with guns, has so many guns on the street, has so much gun crime. Simply put, in America, more guns are not the answer to a safe society.
No, it's not.
We simply cannot afford to go on this way. And undoubtedly, officials will offer thoughts and prayers to the victims and survivors. But instead of pushing gun laws that place guns in our schools to expand George Zimmerman's favorite law, Stand Your Ground, which will allow shooters to shoot first without explanation if they're outnumbered or outsized while they're walking down the streets, to shoot without provocation. We need to close the loopholes in PA's background check system. That's HB 1400 for those who are taking notes. We need a lost or stolen gun reporting law that will allow police to better identify those who are illegally circulating guns in our neighborhoods. That's HB 832. And we need a law that ensures that guns will be removed from the hands and homes of domestic abusers when they've been convicted. That's SB 501, and you'll hear more about that in a few minutes, I'm sure. We will only kill the violence that's killing us if we all work together as a community that cares about the people living in it. Mourn these losses, but stand together to take the action that's necessary to change minds and save lives. So thank you for your time and support. With that, I'd like to introduce one of our better state reps in the legislature here, State Rep Ed Gainey.
Good evening, everybody. It's been a painful week in the city of Pittsburgh and throughout our nation. I want to start by saying, I don't want your guns. I really don't want your guns. I don't want them. You can have your guns. All I want to do is preserve life. All I want to do is support legislation that helps people be responsible when it comes to gun action.
Yes. That's right.
And I can say this because I know there's a lot of people in the NRA that feel this way.
Yes, there are.
That they believe also that we have to have more responsibility in dealing with our guns. We have escalations of mass murders throughout America, yes, in urban areas and in rural areas. But I don't want your gun. I just want to preserve life.
Yes.
I want to talk about a universal background check that'll be good for Pennsylvania. But the reality is we need you. We need some members that are in the NRA to step up and say, hey, I want to work with ceasefires and other people who we know don't want our guns, but just want to close some of these loopholes within the gun administration, the gun amendments or the gun laws so that we can preserve life.
Come on. That's right.
This is not a situation where we want to take your guns. Keep your guns. If you want to protect your family, you want to go hunting, keep your guns. What we're asking is that for those that understand that in the greatest nation in the world, we got an escalation of violence, we need you to come out and work with us to help us preserve life. It's not about I want your gun, I need your help to preserve life, because together we can make a better America.
Come on. That's right.
But we can't do anything if we don't have unison and cooperation. I'm not here to bash anybody on the other side. Because bashing this side to bash this side does nothing to save the lives of these children who are dying.
Daily.
What happens is that we got to come together collectively and talk about real solutions that we can agree on. Because the only God we should serve is the God that wants to preserve life.
Come on.
Well said.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for all your hard work. Next up, I'd like to introduce one of our key partners here in Pittsburgh, Tim Stevens of the Black Political Empowerment Project and the Greater Pittsburgh Coalition Against Violence.
Yes,
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Black Political Empowerment Project, BPAP, and the Greater Pittsburgh Coalition Against Violence stand shoulder to shoulder with CeasefirePA and the moms who demand action and all of our partners up here in crying out about the recent mass shootings in Reading, Pennsylvania and Fayette County. As CeasefirePA has stated, and my friend Rob Conroy, the Fayette County shooter being armed with a semi-automatic assault weapon, which killed at least 5 people, reminds us all how horrific these rifles can be, and how these tragedies will impact for years to come the lives of those left behind. I just buried my sister on December 23rd. She was not killed by violence. I was thinking about her today. Parents, relatives, and siblings, and friends, and people who are killed by violence have a whole different picture to stay with them for the rest of their lives. And often, those people who are killed are very young. We have, as BPAP and the Coalition Against Violence, partnered with Rob Conroy and Shannon Williams and others as we've gone to the Capitol in Harrisburg, trying to approach our representatives, advocating for change in the Pennsylvania gun laws. The recent deaths remind us of the need to continue that much-needed legislative effort. The absence of sufficient and logical background checks, these are logical, will continue to haunt many of the citizens of our Commonwealth who will be directly affected by future tragedies caused by people using assault weapons until our outmoded laws are changed. We strongly support Pittsburgh CeasefirePA, Rob Conroy, Shannon, as well as a statewide executive director. I'm on those calls every month with Sheriff Goodman, and calling our elected leaders in Harrisburg to do the right thing and pass the necessary legislation to give us all a new day in Pennsylvania with regard to lessening the likelihood of more gun-related mass tragedies. The time is now. The time was yesterday. The time was last year. The time was years ago. The question is, when will it be the time for those who have the power to make the necessary changes in our legislation?
Thanks so much, Tim. Thanks for all your hard work. Next, I'd like to introduce one of our key local and national partners. This is Elizabeth Bagel Hogan from Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Bagel Hogan. I'm a proud mom, and I'm a volunteer with the Pittsburgh chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. On behalf of the thousands of Pennsylvanians in our chapter, I would like to thank all of you for being here with us tonight. Earlier today, when my 8-year-old got off the bus, the first thing he said to me when he ran through the door was, "Mom, we had a lockdown at school today." Luckily, I had my Mom's Demand Action shirt on, and he also said, "Oh good, you're doing something about it."
That's awesome.
8-year-old. I want to say that my heart goes out to the families and friends of Jarlin, Juan, Josh, Chelsea, Seth, William, Courtney, and the families of all the victims whose names we do not know. It is heartbreaking and beyond frustrating for us to be here after yet another act of senseless gun violence in our state. It is long past time for our Pennsylvania lawmakers to step up and fight to prevent gun violence. Our state has a long history of responsible gun ownership, and we should honor that by doing the responsible work we have yet to do when it comes to the deadly ties between our inadequate gun laws and domestic violence. We already know that domestic violence is a heinous crime that tears apart families and traumatizes entire communities. But when a domestic abuser is armed with a gun, it makes things far worse. Indeed, the presence of a gun in a domestic violence situation makes it 5 times more likely that the woman will be killed. This is entirely unacceptable, and we refuse to accept this as our new normal.
Yes.
There are common sense steps our lawmakers can take to keep Pennsylvania families safe. We can close background check loopholes. We can disarm domestic abusers, and we can prohibit devices like bump stocks that skirt the law and mimic automatic fire. We can stop federal bills that would allow certain domestic abusers to carry hidden, loaded handguns across the country. And we can and should ensure that guns aren't anywhere near our children in schools. Please join Moms Demand Action and CeasefirePA in calling on legislators to pass meaningful gun safety legislation that will leave our state safer than how we inherited it. The people of Pennsylvania deserve better. They deserve common sense gun laws. Our families, yours and mine, should not live in fear of gun violence potentially cutting their lives or those of their loved ones short. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you, moms, for everything you're doing to help the cause and really raise awareness around here and nationally. Just want to acknowledge before I introduce the last speaker that we have Rich Carrington here from one of our great partners, Voices Against Violence. And he and Leonard Hammonds, who's also here from the South Pittsburgh Coalition for Peace. Reverend Grayson, who's done so much for this cause over the years, deals with the things I'm describing every day, and I realize that. And it's for him and for other people like him that I do this work myself. So with that, I would like to introduce Reverend Lydia Barlow to close things out. And Lydia, you're from the South Pittsburgh, or from the Christian Associates of Southwest Pennsylvania.
That's exactly right.
All right. Sorry about
Sounds
that.
good.
So,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Well, good evening. My name is Lydia Barlow. I serve as Executive Minister of Christian Associates of Southwest Pennsylvania. I'm a United Church of Christ pastor. I'm also the mother of 2 children in Pittsburgh Public Schools. This morning, with the school on lockdown, I called my daughter back for an extra hug at the doorway of the school. I squeezed her extra hard, and I kissed her 7-year-old head 3 times. No parent should be afraid to send her child to school. No one should be afraid to walk after dark in his own neighborhood. And no woman should be afraid of her partner. My words today are based on the first verses of the book of Habakkuk. O Lord, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not listen? Or cry to you violence, and you will not save? O Lord, how long will domestic abuse lead to gunfire and death? How long shall I cry for help, and you will not listen? O Lord, how long will school children cower behind locked classroom doors? How long shall I cry to you violence, and you will not save? O Lord, how long will young people in communities that we have starved of hope and resources turn to guns as their only source of power? How long shall I cry for help, and you will not listen? O Lord, how long will our churches, synagogues, mosques, and gurdwaras be stained with the blood of the faithful? How long shall I cry to you violence, and you will not save? How long will weapons of war be found on city streets? How long shall I cry to you violence, and you will not save? How long, O Lord, how long? Perhaps until your children say enough.
Come on.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We need to keep this fight going, so let's stay on top of this. All right. right? So I say enough too. And I neglected to mention that school lockdown this morning. I didn't even work that into my speech, but I mean, that just added extra, yeah, it never ends. But together, maybe we can help it, Ted,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Hey Rob, just two quick announcements.
Sure.
Tomorrow night, we have an interfaith service on violence in North Versailles at Mount Carmel Baptist Church, Reverend Barbara Gunn, at 6 o'clock. And on March 31st, I hope you all can make it, we will have a special half-day event from 9:30 to 1:30 at the Pittsburgh Theological Seminary on a part of our new document piece, Violence Against Women and Girls. And we'd love you to help plan it with us. I mean, this is being created, but it's based on the strategies from the document. That's March 31st, which is a Saturday. So folks are doing what they're doing, and this gentleman who's hosting us has kind of led the way up in this community and has been a steadfast anchor to this work.
I know we spoke a lot about what's happening in Reading and other areas, Fayette County, but right here in our own backyard, even on last night, someone shot down, ran over, killed. I think we had 2 deaths. We're on the ground through outreach. It's heart-wrenching. I look at John, who lost a brother to gun violence. Look at Brother Ed Gainey, who lost his sister to gun violence, and I lost my son. So it's real to us, and we're grateful for all the other entities who come together to help make a difference. But it's our reality, and we really have to stick together and make a difference, because it's every day. The shots are going forth, people are dying, kids are getting hold to, an arsenal of ammunition that are taking lives. The streets of violence, and the work is great. So we work through the GBI, a subdivision of that, outreach workers, and we're on the ground, and there are other entities. We see gun violence as a disease.
Yes.
And it's and we from the White House on down need to address that as a disease that we're going to fix and change it. So I say thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so I can bring you more videos on subjects like this and many other topics. Please leave any comments in the comment section. Any questions or comments, I'll get back to them as soon as I possibly can. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.